Welcome back. Organizations have moved on from saying people are the most important assets to saying it's not just any person, it's the right people that are the most important assets. And a few key concepts of HRM that we have, to begin with HR planning. Manchester United, how do you think that no matter how much of their top stars leave the team, they keep performing year after year? But for your information, it's HR planning. Identifying talented footballers at the age of 16, offering contracts, building them up, and by the time they're 23, they're at the top of their game, ready to deliver, and in fact, ready to bend it like Beckham. Motivation of employees is another key area. Motivation is the inner drive among us through which we try to achieve certain goals and certain objectives. Providing high salaries, it is not just the way of motivating, although many motivation theories do say that money is not a motivator. Keep in mind, in developing countries, especially countries like, what we have, these third world countries, it is in fact a key motivator. But some companies do take different ways of motivating people. For example, Google, there are massage rooms, there are free food, and even Hasbro, the famous toy company that make the G.I. Joe figures, even they provide their employees with a half-a-day leave every week to go and spend time with their children and enjoy their lives as parents. These are all unique ways of motivating people. And under HR, a key aspect you need to focus is actually on HR Lifecycle. HR Lifecycle identifies all the steps that are carried out by the human resource management function. And it starts off with job analysis, understanding the nature of the job, moves on to what we have as the two products of job analysis. That means once the job analysis has been carried out, there are two sub-products that come out of it. Job description, details of the job as to what would be done, what are the key duties, and also you would have person specification, which understands what type of a person does this person have to be successful in the job. And most importantly, the person specification would be developed based on what we identify as the model of Rogers 7-point plan. Once the person specification is done, with all these details ready, you go for recruitment, you advertise about the job, you provide information, and you attract the right talent. And nowadays we have companies like L'Oreal that makes recruitment videos and post it on YouTube, very low cost but very highly effective ways of recruitment. From recruitment you go into selection, identifying the most suitable candidates, ideally doing tests, maybe doing interviews, and from selection you move on to what is identified as job induction, where you make the employee familiar with the process of the company and you make the employee feel more comfortable like at home. Once induction is done, well, it's time to perform. The horse is on the track, it's time to run the race. You get the person to work, then you need to evaluate the person, which we call HR appraisal. Keep in mind, to make an appraisal effective, make it less paperwork, make it less time consuming, time it properly, don't put appraisals during times of year-end reporting. Once the appraisal is done, the results are out, you identify how this person needs to be further developed if there are requirements, then you move into employee training. And that's a special focus area because I believe it's something of very use, maybe, or it will be something of highly useful for you all at the coming exam. Employee training is about developing the skills and talents of people and even developing them mentally to go that extra mile and deliver and perform. Companies like Ritz-Carlton, they have $1 million training facilities, and it has become so famous that other hotels now send people to Ritz-Carlton training facility to get their people trained. You have to be aware of training methods, seminars, conferences, business games, even self-learning, and also how to evaluate a training program using the Kirkpatrick model. Check for the reaction, have the people liked it, check for the learning, ask a few questions after the training program, check for the change of behavior, are they better or are they worse, and also check for the achievement of results, are they getting the targets that they're supposed to get. So this is what we call employee training. Once the training is done, you could now look at even career progression. No employee would like to join the same company and stay in that same position they joined forever. Career progression. How can you progress an employee to higher levels needs to be looked into. Another key aspect of this is that, remember, small organizations particularly find it extremely challenging to be sending employees to higher positions and higher levels. Once the progression is done, another sub-aspect of it is what we call rewards. Identify how employees can be rewarded. both monetary rewards and non-monetary rewards, such as training facilities, work experience facilities, overseas working facilities, and even sometimes providing childcare facilities for their children. All these are non-monetary rewards. So you need to balance it. That's what we call total rewards, balancing between monetary and non-monetary rewards. And ultimately, once all that is done, it's time to say goodbye to the employee, where you say, look, it's time for dismissal. But make sure if you are removing an employee, it should be according to the law, what we call a fair dismissal, since if not, it qualifies under unfair dismissal, leading to a plethora and a myriad of legal consequences. And sometimes dismissal of an employee under a disciplinary violation may be quite acceptable straight away, but if not, there may be high legal requirements to remove an employee. However, in the case of a redundancy, where the company has too many employees due to factors such as recessions, they might have to lay off some employees. Do make sure you act in good faith. Do ensure that you provide them with a VRS scheme, a redundancy scheme, and a golden parachute package, like an advancement of salary, and also help them to find other jobs and send them off in a good note. But once they are gone, manage the survivors, pay attention to them, motivate them. Like I said, build up the confidence in them so that they will deliver. So these are some of the key aspects that we have of human resource management. And before we wind up today's session, just to share with you about how to spend the first 20 minutes. I call it E1T20. Very crucial. Please do not waste it. This is more like your power play overs you get in a ODI. Take 5 minutes, run through the whole paper. It's a lie to say don't look at the entire paper, don't even look at it, because by human nature, we always like to see what's happening. Like Winston Churchill once said, I'd rather sleep comfortably knowing that my enemy is at the gate of my home rather than thinking and not being sure and just widely thinking that they are somewhere far away. Take another 5 minutes, run through the entire paper. Don't be reading case studies, but just run through the paper and see what areas are tested. Take another 5 minutes and attempt the MCQs. 5 minutes is more than enough to attempt 10 MCQs, especially in E1 since there are no calculations. You have 10 more minutes remaining. Attempt 4 section B questions of your choice. In other words, pick the 4 that you find the easiest. Just jot down the points so that you would know the structure of it, what you are going to write. What would I write for an introduction, and what would the main points be that I would be writing for this. Just jot it down on the question paper itself. And then 20 minutes are over. However, 40 marks have been completed in 20 minutes, even before the paper has started. Game on. So this is some aspects which I wanted to share with you. And ultimately, before ending tonight's session, make sure you are neat in your writing. If you want to please the marker, please make sure that you are neat. There is no need for beautiful handwriting, but do make sure it's neat and can be read. It should be legible. If you do write plans, answer plans before an answer, once you are done with the answer, do cut it to prevent the examiner from mistaking it to be another answer point. And most importantly, if you have handwriting issues, like I did when I was a student, space out your work, make it easy to read for the marker. So these are some vital tips that I wanted to share for today. And we would have information systems as well as marketing remaining to be covered for tomorrow's session. And also, I would advise you to take time to go through what I had discussed, look at your notes, go through it, develop confidence. Remember, confidence is the name of the game. Go through the tough areas, practice some of the exam techniques, look at some of the questions, and think of the answer points on your own. This would tremendously help you in these dying moments of your build-up to the exam. With that, we wind up tonight's session. I'll see you tomorrow, same time. Good night.